So apparently the Polygon, the gaming industry needs to learn from sports. I don't understand what the whole point of this fucking article was, that gaming needs to learn from sports. It honestly makes no sense to me, but I'll show you guys the thing anyways. I have a controversial stand on sports. Sports, my friends, are good. Despite sports being very good, a chunk of the games community dislikes sports. Wait, what the fuck? Dislikes like sports. Who the fuck edited this? Like, they really hate them. Sports make their skin crawl. The word alone conjures the specter of nose-breathing, knuckle-dragging jock culture. I'm gonna need you to hold up really quick. I have never, a single day in my life, because I'm a gamer, I'm an epic gamer. A single day in my life has hearing the word sports made my skin crawl. Because, guess what, guys? I like sports. It's a magical concept that actually gamers like sports. Because guess what? We have this thing called esports, and it's gaming sports. I don't understand what you mean by gamers hate sports when there are sports for gamers. And yeah, sure, a lot of some people who play video games don't like sports. That's 100% acceptable. Like, no one's forcing them to like football. I don't know why this is projected mainly on gamers in this article. Like, there are probably businessmen and people who don't like sports either, or don't like certain sports. It's not just gamers who hate sports. And what the hell do you mean, jock culture? Like, this ain't the fucking 80s when gaming is looked down upon, and, gamers who being the Dungeons and Dragons are getting beaten up in the hallways and shit in the schools today, because gaming's fucking normal. And most people who are jocks, I 100% guarantee you that when they got nothing to do, they'll either turn on the TV or they'll fucking play some video games, because that's what they want to do. Maybe I'm describing you. That would be A-okay. As someone who dreaded elementary school gym class and attended a liberal arts college, I get it. Even today, I find the culture of the NFL deplorable, while also being a diehard fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm keenly aware of the ugliness of pro sports and the complicity of its fan base, myself included. But the more I've spent engaging with the sports, the more I've recognized that, like all big, popular things, sports aren't monolithic, nor are they purely evil. In fact, they're more often than anything else than silly. What do you mean by complicity of NFL fan bases? There's nothing really that complicated about an NFL fan base. Let's take me, for example. I'm from Chicago. I am a diehard Bears fan. I'm a diehard Blackhawks fan. I'm a diehard Cubs fan. Here's some complicating things to know about our fan base. Us Bears fans, if you like the Green Bay Packers, you can go fuck yourselves. Fuck the Green Bay Packers. If you like the Vikings, you can also go fuck yourselves. If you like the Detroit Lions, you're just sad. That's complicating about our fan base. And guess what? We know our team isn't the greatest, and guess what? You don't gotta make fun of us for it. Because guess what? We're getting better. Us Blackhawks fans, there's nothing complicating about us. Here's the thing, if you like the Blues, you can go fuck yourselves. If you like the Red Wings, you can go fuck yourselves. And yeah, we know a lot of our players are getting old. Kane, Taves, they're fairly old now. So guess what? They're probably soon going to be leaving the league in several years. And that's perfectly fine. 3 Hall of Famers on our team, Duncan Keith, Jonathan Taves, and Patrick Kane, and 3 Stanley Cups. I think that's perfectly fine. Us Cubs fans, if you like the White Sox, you can go fuck yourselves. If you like the Cardinals, you can go fuck yourselves. And guess what? We know we won the 2016 World Series. And guess what? We're still happy about that. So don't come over here and tell us that, oh, you suck because you still can't win another one. Well, guess what? You can go fuck yourselves. If I offended your fan base, I apologize. I truly did not mean to ramble on that long, but sorry about that. Now let's get back to this weird article, shall we? As a devotee to multiple fantasy football leagues, I can attest that sports aren't some roided rival of nerd culture. The opposite is true. Sports culture and video game culture have a lot in common. At least we can agree on one thing in this article. both have spent decades catering to a toxic, masculine fan base. Both have prioritized the financial growth of their industries above the well-being of their workforce, and in recent years, both have seen the gradual expansion of small but growing progressive movements. In the world of sports, players and fans have gone further than their video game counterparts. Each league has its own players' unions, which have gradually gained increased public support. Credit social media platforms that have helped to humanize players, particularly in the NBA, where players are approaching power parity with owners and league managers. Okay, man. A feminist fucking wrote this goddamn article. I swear to God. Toxic, masculine freaking fan bases. Why do all of these freaking article writers gotta bring up toxic, masculine fan bases? Like, yeah, a lot of males like sports. It makes sense. It appeals to a more male thing, because most sports are generally male. That's why there's women's sports. But at the same time, it's like they're saying that women don't like sports. There's a lot of people I know who are girls and like sports. It's not a crazy concept that a woman can like sports. Oppress the toxic masculine fan base. It's like, who the fuck cares if it's a masculine fan base? It doesn't even matter. And the gaming industry doesn't have unions because I think most people don't really give a shit. It's like the reasons why most unions, I'm pretty sure, were started in bigger sports franchises are because owners were just greedy assholes who were taking money out of players' pockets. I'm skipping over this big part of the article because it just talks about the NBA and how they're going on, like, halting some playoff games over, the fucking shootings that happens that I don't really care about. Video games have never been more popular. The industry booming because everybody is stuck inside and because we crave the escape. Now imagine the people who create our games, the people who play them to entertain us, taking a day to simply stop and force us to take a break from our leisure and feel the discomfort of the world, to demand that we sit with that discomfort. I don't know if I can speak for anybody else from this, but this is just me personally. I play video games to not give a shit about what the hell is going on in the world, because everything is either in the news, it's either Trump, or it's the Black Lives Matter shootings and the protests going on. I use video games to escape all that. To go, you know what, fuck the world, I'm gonna go into this virtual world and maybe save it. Play some, rocket-powered car soccer that you're seeing in the background. Just to escape the bullshit that we gotta deal with in our world. And yeah, our world, honestly, it's a shitty place. But you know what? That's why video games are mainly created. It's to escape. It's to see a new world. I swear to God, if I get copyrighted by Disney, I'm gonna punch somebody in the fucking face. To see a new world and to experience what it would be like to be in something, to do something else, to escape from, how bad the world truly is outside. And the gaming industry hasn't been booming just because of, the whole pandemic that was going on. That's not the main reason. Video games have been popular long before the whole pandemic. It's like, they are now booming because the pandemic. We've all been stuck inside. I mean, well, yeah, but you gotta be inside to play video games. And the gaming industry has been around for a long time and is booming for a long time. We've seen some examples like a group of streamers that participated in one-day blackout on Twitch that didn't epically fail, calling attention to accusations of sexual harassment, again, that didn't epically fail, sexual assault and gender discrimination, which totally didn't epically fail within the community. Many brave sources have come forward to speak out against accusations from video game publishers, most recently with reports of inner workings of video game publisher Ubisoft. And we're even seeing some efforts towards social progress inside games themselves, particularly in sports games. In Madden 20, NFL 21, that totally doesn't fucking suck. Players can customize their visors and compression sleeves with messages like "End racism," while F1 2020 has embraced the sport's #WeRacist1 campaign. These are small steps, though they do matter. Honestly, man, I don't understand why gaming industry is starting to put these messages and shit, in their games and stuff. It's like they're force-feeding it down our throats, and it's like, I don't care. Yeah, there's racism exists, but guess what? Currently, I really don't care. I'm more, trying to just play my fucking game Instead of reading messages say end racism. Like, yeah, racism exists. I get it. Don't fucking crucify me in the comments like, oh, Austin, you don't understand, bro. You just don't understand. You don't get where we're coming from. Like, yeah, I don't really give a shit at the same time. And man, like, how do these matter? It's like, it's a game. It's not gonna end racism if you have a fucking sleeve that says end racism. It's like, oh guys, Madden did it. EA did it. EA has officially ended racism. They've done it. It's official. They've done it. They had a sleeve that said ended racism, and it's boom. Racism is gone. Racism no longer exists. It's crazy. I don't believe it. It doesn't exist. It's all EA. They did it. It's like when the black square thing came out. It's like, holy shit, 14-year-old white girls posting, shit like, it's like, holy shit, guys. We ended racism. We posted a couple black squares on fucking Instagram. It's like, none of this shit really, people just, it's not how you end racism, guys. It's not how you end racism. It's about, end racism on a sleeve, Madden, it's gone. We've done it. We've done it. Racism is no more. It just makes no sense to me. But it's hard to conceptualize a grand, ground-shaking action on par with what's happening in professional sports, not simply because game creators but streamers refuse to take action because there's so much of the games community lack the power and financial stability their counterparts in the world of sports. What do you mean lack of stability? The gaming industry is a maybe a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and you want to talk about lack of stability. Honestly, bro, if the gaming industry really wanted to, they could just, honestly, let's say they wanted to rebuild New York City from the ground up for no fucking reason. They could make New York City look like it's straight out of fucking 2165. People in this article talking about lack of financial stability. Big-name creators are largely anonymous in the mainstream sense of the world. They don't appear on TV each week. They don't have sponsorship contracts or shoe lines. Hell, many creators barely do interviews at all. They're publicists favoring community managers and marketing leads who will stick to the company line. Giant franchises like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed are created by many studios across the world, each game with a handful of creative leads, preventing any identifiable ownership of their creations. As a result, video games magically materialize rather than arrive after years of hard work and quite often intense crunch. Okay. That's the ending of that. That is horseshit. That is complete horse shit. Assassin's Creed Origins, if I'm not mistaken, was 3 years in development, and they want to talk about, it materialized magically. It took 3 years to make the game, but it materialized magically. And yes, there are senses of ownership. Ubisoft owns the title to Assassin's Creed. That means Ubisoft owns Assassin's Creed or whatever other game. Activision owns the title to Call of Duty with Infinity Ward. They own the title to it. That's why you don't see 2K coming out with Call of Duty NBA Edition and no significant time crunch. If I'm fairly sure it was Halo 2 or 3 that they wanted to implement a bunch of stuff into the game and they couldn't because they were in a time crunch. But no, there are no time crunches in video game industry. For all these reasons, the game industry has yet to evolve in a way that allows its creators to leverage the industry's power to produce social change, or really any change. Instead, the industry waits for battles between billion-dollar and trillion-dollar tech companies. As members of the video game industry consider the power of solidarity, as video game streamers question the sustainability of their labor and the parasocial demands of their audience, as the industry at large considers its responsibility to the greater culture, I believe sports could and should serve as a compass. What do these people want from the game industry? What do they want? What social change is going to happen if you put end racism on a sleeve in Madden 21? Nothing. It is going to end nothing. What do you want? Do you want us to, do some huge thing? Video games to come on, the gaming industry to come on, full, worldwide broadcasts, like U.S. broadcast worldwide, and say, guys, end racism. And it's just gonna be, racism is abolished, it doesn't matter, it's gone. Like, what do you want? And you keep pointing to sports, and particularly the NBA, as, we need to focus on, you gotta be like the NBA, or sports. But when Drew Brees speaks his mind about not kneeling for the flag, not kneeling for the national anthem, he gets attacked and has to forcibly apologize for his beliefs. A shooting happens, you hear LeBron James come on Twitter and shit, and be like, man, it's all systemic racism, we're all oppressed, sitting in his fucking multi-million-dollar mansion. And when, in the NBA, this was fairly recent, when a black player calls a white player a bitch-ass white boy, it doesn't matter. It gets no coverage. It gets nothing. Because it's a double fucking standard that the world lives by, which is complete and utter horseshit and bullshit. Let's say in that situation the roles were reversed, and the white player called the black player a bitch-ass N-word. You know what would have happened? That player would have been thrown out of the league, crucified on the stake, crucified, burned at the stake, everything. His career would have been over. But when it happens to, another culture, another race, it was particularly to white people, it doesn't fucking matter. And you don't hear LeBron James coming on and be like, systemic racism, apologizing for, the guy's actions and whatever. But no, he wants to come on and talk about systemic racism and, again, sitting in his probably multi-million-dollar mansion. I think if he's sitting in his multi-million-dollar probably mansion, I don't know, I don't pay attention to the NBA because I just don't give a shit about basketball in general. But I'm pretty sure he has a multi-million-dollar mansion. But sitting in there, or a Lamborghini, I don't know if he has a Lamborghini or not, I'm just saying, if he does or not, I'm just probably wrong. Sitting in probably a Lamborghini like, bro, systemic racism. I'd say you're doing pretty good if you're feeling systemically oppressed. But these writers want the gaming industry to be more like the sport industry. They want to be like that. And I just say no. Just let the video game industry stay how they want. Just let them do what the gaming industry wants to do. Like, they don't have to be like the sports industry. But let's get back to this article because I'm getting way off topic. Professional sports provide clear, attainable steps. Game makers may become public figures. Developers may choose to unionize. Teams across the world may find ways to come together, creating and maintaining solidarity. Despite their geographical distance, and creators and players must champion, foster, and support change. Even if it means they don't get their new games as fast as they're used to. Even if they find the message challenging because change is uncomfortable. And here's the reason why game makers aren't public figures. It's because nobody cares. Most people who watch the news are fucking 50-year-old boomers who want to see who's winning the presidential election race. The news is all about Trump. It's all about, today, it's all about Trump. It's all about the protests, shootings, and all that. It's all about that. And you're saying, but if they create change, they'll become public figures and be in the news and stuff. I think they're not public figures and not in the news because they don't want to be. That's why they have publicists going, we'll just make this guy talk about it, and because, he's our head of whatever, we're going to have you talk about it, and we're just going to stay in the shadows, we're not going to care. It's because they don't really give a shit. The gaming industry, all the gaming industry wants to do is make more video games and make more money. And that's it. They don't need to be public figures like football players, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer. They don't need to be like that because I think they don't want to be like that. And if you think the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, pro soccer, you think they really care about systemic racism? No, they don't. All they want is money. They're doing it for the money. That's why they're making all these things, publicizing, because they just want money. That's all. It's all a business. They just want to make money and get as rich as possible. Man, this is a long video, but let's carry on. So like I said, I get that sports can be awful and annoying and toxic, but at the same time, it's a shame that sports should be ruined for people who love games, even though it's fucking not. Sports are the biggest games on the planet. They're so big, so culturally significant, so accepted that they've been separated from the rest of game culture. Okay, whatever. And they're forging a trail which the games industry would be wise to follow. And what trail exactly would that be? I've already just went through a couple points why, they shouldn't. But, honestly, these writers are never gonna fucking listen to a 14-year-old YouTuber on the internet with 12 subs. They're never gonna. And, I really don't give a shit. And voice your opinions in the comments, because honestly, right now, I wasn't probably going to make another video today, but I don't feel like it after reading all that shit and just talking about a bunch of bullshit. And the beginning of this video was kind of more, The beginning was normal, and then this kind of spiraled into a whole big thing. But I think that'll be it for me, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you liked it, make sure you go and like and subscribe. And voice your opinions down in the comments below. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at AustinBigPapaWarner and MrAustin15. Follow me on Twitter at AustinWarner. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.